This video is all about your nervous system. By the end of the video, you should be able to describe all the parts and functions of the nervous system, including any specialized organs, cells, or tissues in the nervous system and their jobs, as well as what other organ systems might interact with the nervous system and how. There's so much new vocabulary. In this video, we're going to talk about the nervous system, the neuron, three special types of neurons called sensory, interneurons, and motor neurons, your central nervous system, your brain, spinal cord, cerebrum, and cerebellum, your brain stem, and your peripheral nervous system. Your nervous system's main job is to maintain your body equilibrium by telling the body how to respond to a stimulus or a thing in your environment that causes you to have a reaction. So it basically regulates your body. It helps us think and feel as well. The main cell of a nervous system is called a neuron. So it's just another word for a nerve cell. A neuron contains three main parts: a cell body that contains the nucleus, dendrites, which are these hair-like extensions that receive a signal from another neuron, and then an axon, which is a long tail, sometimes covered with this waxy coating called a myelin sheath that connects neuron to neuron. I'm going to go back for a second. So basically, if you have one neuron here, there would be another one hooked up to it end to end. So this would be the body. It's connected to this axon or the end of the neuron, and then the next cell body would be right here with the axon and the terminal, which would connect there. So they're kind of hooked up in that manner. And then here's a microscopic picture of what the neurons look like. So how does a nerve impulse actually work? Well, it's pretty cool because they can move really, really fast, and you know your reactions can be really fast too, up to 120 meters per second. It begins in the dendrites up here where it takes in the nerve impulse. A nerve impulse is basically from one nerve cell to another. It moves through the neuron and down the axon, where it moves across the little gap called a synapse to the next neuron. There's different kinds of neurons. The first one is a sensory neuron. As you can guess, it senses or detects a stimulus. So there's something different in the environment that it detects, whether that's a change in temperature, whether it's pain, whether it's something that they're noticing. They're picking something up. Okay, so it detects this change right here. The interneuron is part of your central nervous system. It could be your brain or your spinal cord. It basically is the thinking neuron, and it decides what to do with that sensory input, and it will cause a reaction. That reaction could be that it fires a motor neuron. So it could come back through and cause this muscle right here, for example, to contract, and that will actually cause something to move and respond to that nerve impulse. So this picture is showing you, like, if you go to the doctor and they check your reflexes, they might tap the bottom of your knee right underneath your patella or your kneecap, and it will send an impulse through this sensory neuron up into your spinal cord, where it will decide, hey, we should move away from that stimulus, and then it will send that message down to through this motor neuron to your muscle, where it will cause that muscle to contract and your knee will kick out, or the bottom of your foot will kick out. Another good example of this is touching something that's hot or painful. You're going to automatically pull your hand back because you've received that signal, that sensing signal goes up to your spinal cord. Your spinal cord says, move away. And then your body actually moves away really quick. What I think is really cool is that your nervous system can work without even that signal getting up to your brain yet, so that you can move your hand away from that dangerous, hot, or sharp thing before your brain even senses that it's painful. Your central nervous system contains your brain and your spinal cord. So your brain is the control center of your body. Your spinal cord links the brain to the rest of your body through nerves. Here is a picture of different shapes and sizes of brains of different organisms. You can see how big the human brain is compared to, let's say, a dog or even a little tiny mouse down here. Elephants have multiple lobes in their brains, and they're pretty darn big. The gorilla brain is similar to the human, but smaller. And then look at this cool dolphin. The dolphin brain is almost the same size as the human brain. The brain has different parts to it. It has 100 billion neurons. Those are all those thinking or interneurons. It's broken up into different parts. The cerebrum is the largest part. Your cerebrum contains all of these different colored lobes up here, and it has a right and a left half. This controls most of your voluntary bodily functions and learning. So anytime you're choosing to move your body, you're drawing, you're painting, you are playing catch, and then anytime you're learning, all of that is happening in this big part of your brain right up here. Your cerebellum is this blue part down here, not really colored blue, but this one on this diagram is blue. Your cerebellum controls your muscles and helps to maintain balance. So this one is sometimes not your thinking part. Your cerebellum can actually help you maintain balance without thinking too much. And then your brain stem is underneath it. This connects your brain to your spinal cord. It's also the most protected part of your brain, and it controls all of your involuntary body functions, like your heart beating and breathing and things like that, that you're not really aware of and that you're not in control of. It's the most protected part because it controls the main parts of your body that keep you alive, like your heart and your lungs. Your peripheral nervous system, so thinking about peripheral, it means on the edges, right? So your peripheral nervous system is all the nerves that come from your spinal cord out to the rest of your body. They basically travel from your spinal cord between all of the little spaces in your vertebrae. And you have 43 pairs of nerves. So going right down your back, you have 43 different nerves that leave your spinal cord and go down to your arms and your legs and everything else. It carries messages from the brain to the body and back again. All right, by now you should be able to answer these essential questions. What is the main function of your nervous system? What are the main parts or organs of your nervous system? Specialized cells and tissues of the nervous system and other organ systems that interact with the nervous system and how they interact.